There is no comparison in life and in business. When you look at the credibility, the credentials, the absolute ability to deliver on the facts, on the business of the nation. I'm going to leave it to you, man, because there is no introduction worthy enough. My friend, and what I call one of the best experts in the country on the economy and where we are and where we need to be and what we need to do, Charles Payne.
For helping to put this together, an amazing event. You know, this is my 5th Tea Party event. I just love it. I love the enthusiasm. I love the spirit. I love the pureness of it. There's no other thing you could attend in this country with a group of people that's asking for less, not more. Imagine that.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
All right, I want to start this off by first of all saying again, thank you. Everybody's been wonderful to me and my family. I really appreciate it. I also want to start it off by telling a story. First of all, we all know that throughout the beginning of time, fanning the flames of hate, pitting one group of people against another based on race, religion, and things like that, have been at the core of the most repugnant things that have ever happened in this world. And the biggest reason this happens is that people really don't know each other. And we've always relied on limited resources or assessments to know one another. Yet think of this sort of a story. Think how crazy it is. You've got 2 men, they both live in the same city. They both have a wife and 2 kids. Their alarm clocks go off at 5 o'clock in the morning. They put on the same clothes, sturdy work pants, construction boots, and then they bolt out the door for work. They hop on a train and 7 stops later, they arrive at the same station. They ascend the stairs and they go outside and you can still feel the cold, moist air. They both walk toward the catering truck. They both order a coffee and a buttered roll. And as they fumble for the money to pay, they glance at each other and almost in unison say, "How are you?" Both men say, "Fine." But you know, in their minds, they're thinking the same thing. My son really wants that used car for his 16th birthday. And how am I going to pay for my daughter's first year of college? How am I going to pull all of this off? So as they nod at each other, their eyes meet for a moment, and for a split second, they see themselves in the reflection. These men have more in common than they have not in common, and yet they both are very vulnerable. They wish they had more. Lord knows that they've worked hard enough and they want more. So what happened? Well, the white guy makes more money because he's friends with the boss and is under less scrutiny. He's making the money I should be making. The black guy got his job through some work program. He didn't take the rigorous test for it that I took, and he's making the money I should be making. Now, these men may not believe these kind of things right there, but this poison at some point is planted into their minds like a seed. And as we all know, seeds need nourishment to sprout and to grow. And so in this case, it's the constant manure from powerful sources that have fanned these seeds and continue to try to grow them in this country. That's why we're here today to urge unity. We're here today to cut off the sources of manure, cleanse our minds and our hearts, and to consider even in the desperate times, we're brothers and sisters. In fact, in desperate times, we must be brothers and sisters. Now, some of you guys know me from the Glenn Beck show. I talked a lot about when I was growing up. And I had 2 childhoods. The first part of my childhood, I lived on Army bases. Idyllic life. I mean, you know, we went outside for hours, we played, came home, made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and went outside and played some more. I don't really recall the doors being locked too often. Our friendships crossed racial lines. We, in fact, never thought about race, none of us. My first best friend was white. My first girlfriend was white. Then my parents got divorced, so me, my mother, and my two brothers, we hopped on a bus, and we came to New York from Virginia. We stayed in a one-bedroom apartment in Harlem. In fact, we lived in a room in a one-bedroom apartment in Harlem. And the first two things that struck me when we got there was the intense vibrancy and the intense anger. The energy was amazing. You know, when I was living on the Army base, my favorite song at the time was Philadelphia Freedom by Elton John. So we get to Harlem, and one day I'm outside and I hear Help Melvin and the Blue Notes, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? So the music brought new elements of joy into my life, but the intense anger was maddening. The violence, the self-destruction, and the pain, it seared my soul. It seared everyone's soul. So when I see and I hear people that should know better saying things that are designed to further inflame this intense anger that permeates our communities, it's so thick you can taste it, I just want to scream. I really do. I think that anyone that deliberately pits one American against another is despicable. It's even worse when it comes from somebody that uses their influence and power to make us hate each other.
That's right. That's right.
The focus now should be on self-improvement, not on who doesn't like us, especially when it's not even true. Now, the focus for everyone in this crowd and everyone in America should be on how do we do things better? How do we make sure that the American dream stays the way it is and in America remains the best country in the world? And I gotta say one thing to all my black people in the audience: the Tea Party movement is not your enemy. It is those that would make you afraid, those who would take your own smoldering anger and fan it into hatred of people that you've never met. Those people are holding you back.
That's right.
And I gotta tell you something, I know it's easy to fall into that trap. I mean, for most of my life, when things happen to me, I think it's racist first, and then I work my way down the checklist of maybe the other causes. You know, I once had a professor who explained to me that while every dog is a quadruped, not every quadruped is a dog. So while every racist is a jerk, not every jerk is a racist. You know, the point is, most of us already have doubts, we have concerns, we have preconceived notions about other people. And in a lot of ways it becomes a poison that limits our circle of friends, our circle of knowledge, and our circle of opportunities.